For one brief morning in Washington, it seems both parties were united today, with lawmakers coming together to grill TikTok's CEO over on Capitol Hill. And my next two guests are from opposite sides of the aisle, but they head up the powerful House Select Committee on China. And they were among the first to propose this idea of banning TikTok. Joining me now, China Committee Chairman, Republican Mike Gallagher, and also Ranking Member, Democrat Raja Krishnamoorthi. Congressman, both of you, thank you for being here. Congressman Gallagher, I want to start with you. Look, the TikTok CEO, Chu, said today on Capitol Hill that TikTok is not an agent of the Chinese government. They've also proposed this plan. They're calling it Project Texas, that would take Americans' data, bring it to the United States, put it in a firewall, basically protecting it from anyone in China who might want to gain access to it. So my question to you is, why does that not assuage your concerns about how TikTok is handling this data?
Because Project Texas, which we've reviewed and met with TikTok to discuss Project Texas, doesn't really address the core issue, which is control of the algorithm. And so long as ByteDance, which is the parent company that owns TikTok, which is effectively controlled by the CCP, controls the algorithm, they can use this app as a platform for spreading disinformation, influencing what news Americans see, influencing future elections. That's the concern, which is why we favor either a ban or a forced sale. We have the only bipartisan, bicameral bill that would do either of those two things. And so thus far, I've not been satisfied with what I heard from TikTok on this issue.
And Congressman Krishnamoorthi, on the politics of this briefly, I mean, look, there are 150 million American users of this app, many of them younger people. Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo said recently that if TikTok is banned, the politician in me thinks you're literally going to lose every voter under 35. I mean, shouldn't you be concerned about alienating this younger generation?
I think, I come from the school, good policy makes good politics. And, my constituents, I'm sure Mike's and millions of parents know, first of all, social media is disturbing to begin with. But secondly, to have a social media company beholden to the Chinese Communist Party. Remember, at this hearing, it was pointed out to Mr. Chu that ByteDance, the parent company, actually used the location data from TikTok to spy on journalists. And yet he wasn't willing to even admit that. And so when you have that situation, I think that's why so many of us are scratching our heads on both sides of the aisle. And, we need a change.
That's one example you're just talking about. The TikTok CEO said, those employees, they were fired. He seemed to characterize it as an isolated incident. But I do wonder, Congressman Gallagher, on the broader issue of whether China will take this algorithm, for example, and manipulate Americans, take Americans' data and use it for some nefarious purpose. Do you have hard evidence that that has happened? And why would it not have happened at this point? 150 million users, why would China not have done that until this moment?
We have evidence not only of TikTok employees using the app to go after journalists. We have evidence of certain storylines that are unfriendly to the Chinese Communist Party being suppressed. Raja has dug into this issue of heating on TikTok, which is very troubling. And then we have every major national security official in our government, the FBI director, the CIA director, the NSA director, the DIA director, the director of national intelligence, all voicing significant concerns about this app. In bipartisan fashion, we banned it on government devices, which really proves the point that Republicans and Democrats agreed this is a threat. So we can't ignore it just because concerns about alienating some teenagers on this app. It's a national security issue. We have to deal with it before it's too late.
And by the way, can I just jump in? I strongly doubt this app's going to go dark. It's going to get sold to another company because it's a very valuable property. So our concern is not, just with, necessarily the app itself, but it's more about the ownership structure. Well, and that needs to change.
Is this then a leverage play? Is the hope here that by threatening to ban TikTok, you force a sale?
Well, the hope is that Congress will take action. And again, we're trying to work with our colleagues to use our bill, use Senator Warner's bill, which brings up this broader issue of cross-border data flows in the ICTS process, use Chairman Mike McCall's bill, and see if we can come to a common sense compromise where Congress is speaking with one voice on this issue and not just defer to the executive branch. We believe the CFIUS process could, or I believe the CFIUS process could force a sale or a ban. There's some debate about that, but it's always better, in my opinion, when Congress acts and doesn't just depend on the executive branch.
Congressman Krishnamoorthi, real quick, how likely do you think a ban is? I mean, could it happen by the end of this year?
I think that legislation could pass by the end of this year in both houses. That would end up being some kind of compromise between the different bills that Mike was alluding to. I do think the Biden administration wants Congress to act. They have said that congressional authority is necessary in this particular area, and we intend to give it to them.
And Congressman Gallagher, I have to ask you this because the TikTok CEO brought up some American values when talking about what was at stake here: freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of commerce. And it is, I think, a fair point that Congress is now trying to meddle in what is a private company. Do you have any concerns that what Congress is attempting to do here is not in line with traditional American values and perhaps is playing the same game that China does in its own country, where there is not as much freedom as there is here?
I have concerns that the very notion of a private company, which exists in the United States, does not exist in China, when any company, particularly ByteDance, where we have overwhelming evidence of them being beholden to the CCP, is at the whim and the beck and call of the Chinese Communist Party. And as for those values he listed, the enemy of all those values is the CCP. So that's my concern.
All right, Congressman Mike Gallagher, Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi, both of you, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we invited TikTok onto the program tonight, but they declined. They did, however, provide this statement. They said that TikTok has taken unprecedented actions to address the national security concerns by securing U.S. user data on U.S. soil. The best way to address concerns about national security is with the transparent U.S.-based protection of U.S. user data and systems with robust third-party monitoring, vetting, and verification, which we were already implementing. Building trust with our diverse and vibrant community is critical to achieving our mission to inspire creativity and bring joy. We will continue working to build a safe and secure and innovative platform for our 1 billion strong community.